Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to your own channel Midu Study. I am your friend Ashutosh from IIM Indore, and friends, as we all know in Midu Study, this is your own CAT 21 series which is in the name of Dream IIM series. Yes my dear friends, Dream IIM series in which in 75 days and 75 videos we are doing comprehensive coverage of the entire CAT syllabus. Friends, our today's video is on one of the important section RC, which is a part of VA RC like we have discussed earlier. We have videos on VA separately, RC separately. On RC there were two videos on the concepts. Video number 3 which told how to approach passages. Video number 12 which was about critical reasoning. Please refer to these two videos, they give you complete idea about how to approach passages. And then like I told you, RC is about daily practice. Do daily online reading questions practice. Today's video will be a practice video. We already have given one practice video. This is the second practice video. So let us start with our today's RC practice video. Just like RC practice video 1, here we have two passages and related to questions. Passages we have taken, we are trying that in every practice video we give you passages on different themes. On CAT, questions can come on an abstract passage, scientific passage, political, historic, medical, anything. We should be ready. Our depth of knowledge is not checked here. Entire facts will be given in the passage only. We need to comprehend it and solve it. So let us start. So the first today's passage is about, let us see, aggression is any behavior. So okay, it is about aggression and kind of medical scientific kind of passage. Aggression is any behavior that is diverted towards injuring, harming or inflicting pain on other living being or group of beings. Generally the victims of aggression must wish to avoid such behavior in order for it to be considered true aggression. Aggression is also categorized according to its ultimate intent. Hostile aggression, so here it is telling about the types. So this paragraph is all about what aggression is all about. So we have already discussed about its intro. Now we are talking about the types. Hostile aggression is an aggressive act that results from anger and is intended to inflict pain or injury because of that anger. Instrumental aggression is an aggressive act that is regarded as a means to an end other than pain or injury. For example, an enemy combatant may be subjected to torture in order to extract useful intelligence, though those inflicting the torture may have no real feelings of anger or animosity towards their subject. Concept of aggression is very broad and includes many categories of behavior: verbal aggression, street crime, child abuse, spouse abuse, group conflict, war. So all these are forms of aggression only, but different. When there is some verbal aggression, someone means you are on a red light, you are standing, from someone back comes and gives a blow on your car, that is aggression. Your child you are aggressing in a different way or different reason. War is a different kind of aggression, but all are types of aggression. A number of theories and models of aggression have arisen to explain these diverse forms of behavior, and these theories models tend to be categorized according to their specific focus. The most common system of categorization groups the various approaches to aggression into three separate areas based upon three key variables that are present whenever an aggressive act or set of acts is committed. So it is telling about the three variables. So see, like I told you, whenever we are reading, just put the paragraph number and on your page rough sheet that you will have in CAT, make notes. So first variable is the aggressor himself. Second is the social situation or circumstance in which aggressive act occurred. Third is the target or victim. So aggressor, victim and the situation, three variables. Let us move to the next paragraph, paragraph number 2. Continue this passage. Reading theories and research on the aggressor, the fundamental focus in the factors that leads an individual to commit aggressive acts at the most basic level. So second is basically telling the reasons for aggression. At the most basic level, some argue that aggressive urges and actions are the result of inborn biological factors. Sigmund Freud, so in those who are familiar, maybe having work ex, they must have seen in HR, this is a part, OB, this is a part, Freud theories propose that all individuals are born with a death instinct that predisposes us to a variety of aggressive behaviors, including suicide and mental illness. Other influential perspectives supporting a biological basis for aggression conclude that humans involved with an abnormally low neural inhibition of aggressive impulses, and that humans possess a powerful instinct of property accumulation and territorialism. It is proposed that this instinct accounts for hostile behaviors ranging from minor street crime to world wars. Okay, so second is telling about the reasons why aggression takes place. Let us move to the next paragraph, paragraph number 3. Hormonal factors. So okay, third is about, it is telling hormonal factors are also appear to play a significant role in fostering aggressive tendencies. So it is in a way saying your hormonal factors or the hormones that you have, that can also lead to aggression. For example, hormone testosterone has been shown to increase aggressive behaviors when injected into animals. Men and women convicted of violent crimes also possess significantly higher level of testosterone than men and women convicted of non-violent crimes. So like it is telling, one of the hormones which is predominant especially in males, testosterone, that is also responsible for aggressive behavior. Numerous studies comparing different age groups, racial, ethnic groups and cultures also indicate that men overall are more likely to engage in aggressive behaviors, just like I told you, because men have more testosterone. Example, sexual assault, aggravated assault, etc. than women. One explanation of higher level of aggression in men is based on the assumption that on an average men have higher level of testosterone than women. That is why they have aggressive behavior. Okay, so third is telling the hormonal factor, especially testosterone, why this leads. So very simple kind of paragraph based upon medical and sciences and all, but as you see, your medical background is not important, your knowledge of biology is not important, comprehension is important. Now let us start the questions. The author identifies these 3 essential factors according to which theories of aggressions are most commonly categorized. Which of the following options is the closest? So this we clearly told, he told 3. One is the aggressor, the circumstance or situation, and the victim. So very easy, option number 2 is the correct answer. Let us move to the second question. The author discusses all of the following in the passage except. So 3 things he is discussing, 1 he is not. We have to identify which he is not. Men in general are believed to be more hormone driven to exhibit. Yes, he told, paragraph number 3. Several studies indicate that aggression may have roots in the biological condition. Yes, this was also mentioned. Nature of aggressions can vary depending upon several factors including intent. Yes, this was also mentioned. Aggression in most societies is kept under control through moderating the death instinct identified by Freud. So this moderation and this thing is not mentioned in passage. So option number 4 is our correct answer. This is something which the author is not mentioning in the passage. Question number 3. All of the following statements can be seen as logically implied except. So 3 things are logically implied, 1 is not. The Freudian theories of suicide as self-inflicted aggression implies that aggressive act need not be sought to be avoided in order for it to be considered aggression. True, this is logically implied. A common theory of aggression is that it is the result of abnormally low neural regulation. No. So low neural regulation of testosterone was not mentioned. See, level of testosterone was mentioned, but it is regulated or not mentioned. Let us check other 2 also. If the alleged aggressive act is not sought to be avoided, it cannot really be considered aggression, right? Freud's theory of aggression proposes that aggression results from suppression of aggressive urges. Correct. So option number 2 is something which is not implied in the passage, other are logically implied. Let us move to question number 4, the last question on this first passage. An enemy combatant may be subjected to torture in order to extract useful intelligence, though those inflicting the torture may have no real feelings of anger or animosity towards their subject. So this was mentioned in the passage. Okay, which one of the following best explicitates the larger point being made? Information revealed by subjecting an enemy to torture is not always reliable. No, this is not what author is trying to point out. When an enemy combatant refuses to reveal information, use of torture can sometimes involve feeling of hostility. No. In certain kinds of aggression, inflicting pain is not the objective, right? It is more the utilitarian means, because here what they are trying, they do not want to induce pain, they are not getting anything, but they want to extract the information. That is the key intent. Use of torture to extract information is most effective when the torturer is not emotionally involved. So option number 3 is something which is the very good implication from this passage. So friends, these were the 4 questions on our first passage. Now let us move to another simple passage, passage 2. First paragraph. Mode of transportation affects the travel experience and thus can produce new types of travel writing and perhaps even new identities. Mode of transportation determines the types and duration of social encounters. So it is more about mode of transportation, and this first paragraph is basically introducing. Determine the types and duration of social encounters affect the organization and passage of space and time, and also affect perception and knowledge. How and what the traveler comes to know and write about. The completion of first US transcontinental highway during the 1920s, for example, inaugurated a new genre of travel literature around the US, the automotive or road narrative, okay, road trips. Such narratives highlight the experiences of mostly male protagonists discovering themselves on their journeys, emphasizing the independence of road travel and the value of rural. So it is also introducing as well as telling about the road travel. Okay, let us move to the next paragraph, paragraph number 2. Travel writing's relationship to empire building as a type of colonialist disclosure has drawn the most attention from academicians. Close connections have been observed between European and American political, economic, and administrative goals for the colonies and their manifestations in the cultural practice of writing travel books. Travel writers' descriptions of foreign places have been analyzed at attempts to validate, promote, or challenge the ideologies and practices of colonial or imperial domination and expansion. Mary Louise Pratt's study of genres and conventions of 18th and 19th century exploration narratives about South America and Africa offered ways of thinking about travel writing as embedded with the relations of power between metropole and periphery, as did Edward Said's theories of representation and cultural imperialism. Particularly Said's book Orientalism, so it is referring to one book, Orientalism, helped scholars understand ways in which representations of people in travel texts were intimately bound up with notions of self. In this case, that the Occident defined itself through essentialist, ethnocentric, and racist representations of the Orient. Said's work became a model for demonstrating cultural forms of imperialism in travel texts, showing how the political, economic, or administrative fact of dominance relies on legitimizing discourses such as those articulated through travel writing. So it is telling about the details, parallelism as well as Orientalism. Let us move to the next paragraph. Feminist geographers' studies of travel writing challenge the masculinist history of geography by questioning who and what are relevant subjects of geographic study, and indeed what counts as geographic knowledge itself. Such questions are worked through ideological constructs that posit men as explorers and women as travelers, or conversely men as travelers and women as tied to whom. Okay, studies of Victorian women who were professionalism. So here basically between men versus men, it is giving comparison of travel as well as writing about and everything. Studies of Victorian women who were professional travel writers, tourists, wives of colonial administrators, and most other mostly elite women who wrote narratives about their experiences abroad during the 19th century have been particularly revealing. From a liberal feminist perspective, travel presented one means towards female liberation for middle and upper class Victorian women. Many studies from the 1970s onward demonstrated the ways in which women's gendered identities were negotiated differently at home than they were away, thereby showing women's self-development through travel. The more recent post-structural turn in studies of Victorian travel writing has focused attention on women's diverse and fragmented identities as they narrated their travel experiences, emphasizing women's sense of themselves as women in new locations, but only as they worked through their ties to nation, class, whiteness, and colonial and imperial power structures. This is the third paragraph comparing men versus women, their writing and the feminism and all. Now let us have a look at the questions. According to passage Said's book Orientalism, so this was mentioned in passage number 2. Now let us see the options which are given. Illustrated how narrow-minded and racist Westerners were. No, this was not the book what it was about. Demonstrated how cultural imperialism was used to justify colonial domination. Yes. Explained the difference between representation of people and actual fact. Argued that cultural imperialism was more significant. No. So clearly very easy question. Option number 2 is the correct answer. Let us move to the next question number 2 on this passage. From the passage, it can be inferred that scholars argue Victorian women experienced self-development through their travels because their identity was redefined when they were away from home. They were progressive middle and upper class society. They were on a quest to discover their diverse identities. They developed a feminist perspective. So it is not mentioning about their class, not about identity, not about the perspective, but since it was mentioning that women when they are in their home as well as when they move out, the changes that occur. So number 1 is the correct option. Let us move to the next question. American traveler literature of the 1920s developed the male protagonist's desire for independence. No mention of this thing. Presented travelers' discovery of their identity as different from others. Celebrated the freedom that travel gives. Correct. Showed participation on local tradition. So very easily option 3 is the correct answer. So friends, as you see, one was about the literature history kind of passage, one was about purely medical, but what is important is that we understand, comprehend the passage and answer the questions. This is what ALSE is all about. In our next video, we will do one of the quantitative ability part, which is probability. We will give it in 2 videos since it is a vast and important topic for CAT. Friends, if you are liking our content, please write on our mail ID meedu.study@gmail.com, or in the comment section, please let us know if you have any queries. Thank you friends, take care, have a good day.